So the top U.S. military chiefs now are fighting to keep authority over these assault cases. You've been hearing more and more about these. Retired from the Air Force, CEO and president of Grace After Fire, Colonel Kim Olson, on the line with us this morning. Good morning, Ms. Olson. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on, Steve.
Well, Colonel, thank you first of all, let me thank you for your service. You outrank me as an old Signal Corps captain. Salute.
Well, thank you for your service, too, sir.
My pleasure. What do you hear, and what are your feelings? We're hearing more and more. It seems like we're hearing more and more of these assault cases. Are we hearing more and more about it, or just more being reported?
Well, I think this is, kind of shining the light on a problem that the military's been struggling with for a couple decades now. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, as much as it pains me to say it as a former commander, I think it's probably the right move to take these particular cases out of the hands of the commanders.
Why would you say that? Why do you
well,
think
one, history has shown that the military, like a family, can have some dysfunction in it, and it still has it today. And even after all the training and all the spotlights on it and all the scandals of the respective academies and the different training facilities, we still cannot seem to get this right. And I think one of the overarching problems is because it always seems to be about someone that outranks someone else. And so, again, taking it out of the chain of command. And the other thing is, and I'll say this out front, you as a commander aren't trained on legal recourses. You have a lawyer at your discretion when you are a commander, but you're not trained in that field. So why should you make ultimate decisions within a due process system? Good
point. Colonel, the military has been taken by our Congress, and I know we have civilian rule, and rightly so. It's the exact way to do it without having wind up with 10-horn dictators. But the fact that some people think because of the political wind shifting and social mores and everything else that the military is a big social experiment. When you throw 18 and 19-year-old good-looking girls with good-looking boys will be boys and girls will be girls. Some stuff's going to happen, and maybe sometimes I think we tend to err on the side of caution, but we also tend to, I think, listen to believe the female before we believe the guy that said, I didn't do anything.
Well, I'm sure that's the case across, university campuses. We had issues with fraternity parties. So there are lots of areas within our society in which you could make that exact same argument.
Sure.
The difference here is, Steve, is that these are trained folks who have volunteered to go in harm's way on behalf of you and I. Mm-hmm. And these aren't just, I go to a bar and this happens to me. These are people that they know. They are betrayed within their own ranks. And so what that then shows is that somehow an environment has been set up in which women aren't appreciated or honored or even recognized for the hard work and service that they've given to their country in the last couple decades, especially in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. Sure. And that's the piece you got to fix, that women are an integral part of society today, or an integral part of the military, and stuff like this pulls us back about 50 years. And I just think that our military is better than that. I think our youth today is better than that. And heaven forbid that you and I would have to say to some parent, well, I'm not too sure if your daughter should join the military. I'm not sure it's a place for a woman. We should not say that. What we should say is absolutely, it's a great place to serve your country. You should do it. Gain a lot of skill sets and experience, and it is something that every youth in America should feel okay about doing it. And every parent should be confident that the military will take care of their son and daughter.
Mm-hmm. I know for a fact that there are situations where, and we've heard these stories, and I don't think they get the publicity that they deserve, that a young woman may be in a combat situation like in Iraq or Afghanistan, not like it, and get pregnant on purpose to get out of there.
I've heard that said a couple times, and I was a commander, and we didn't go anywhere. And I don't know why we don't ever invade places like Bermuda. I mean, we always go to places that aren't that great.
That's right. Yeah.
Sorry, I just throw that out there. So that's been the case for a long time. And I lived on a base with 5,000 people. And I never saw that. In 25 years, I know of no situation where that occurs. Now, you can have your night before your deployment, and then, oops, 3 months later,
Surprise,
I'm
surprise.
pregnant. That can happen. But I think most women, again, it's an all-volunteer force.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're getting into when you join. You're going to places like Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That most women that join really want to serve their country. They have just as much patriotism as you had and that I have, and they want to do right. So I think those cases are few and far between, to be honest with you.
All right. Where do we go from here, Colonel? And what do you think if you were put in charge? Let's say we gave you all 5 stars and said you are the new Allied commander. This being the 69th anniversary of D-Day, you're the new Allied commander of all these forces and your command. What would you do?
Well, what I would do is I would start at the front end. I wouldn't wait till an issue occurred to work on prosecution outside the chain. I would work on the training that we have. Somehow we still seem to use the female gender to beat up on guys. We say to them, what are you, a girl, are you a sissy? And we shouldn't do that, because then what we do is we set them up to somehow see women as less than what they are. And again, women bring tremendous skill sets to the table. Women are needed in leadership positions. Women are needed in the military. And I think you should honor those that serve the military, and you got to honor each other.